What's up YouTube, JamieTheKid00 here, coming to you guys with a Geargia Pure build that you guys have been asking me for recently. Now, originally when you guys were asking about that, I didn't really understand what it was, but I had a little look around and I saw Sam Pedigo's list that topped YCS Chicago, I think, and I saw a few other people who've been talking about Pure Geargia as opposed to OTK Geargia for the April 2014 format, so I figured, hey, I'd give this a go, and build it kind of to my specifications. So I kind of put their lists away once I'd seen the general premise, and decided to start building a list myself. And this is what I've come up with. It plays kind of a lot like Gadgets, but with a bit more special summon utility. It's a little bit faster, actually, than Gadgets. Even though you do have to waste your turn of setting your armor, once you're actually starting to rotate your resources, you're usually doing quite well, and it's usually going to be quite consistent with your Xyz engine. So, with that said, I'm going to get into the video and explain my choices as I go through. So we're going to move these out of the way for now. To start off the list, I am playing 3 copies of Cardcar D. The 3 Cardcar D I know are a bit iffy for some people. Some people don't like playing it in Geargia. I personally like it in the non-OTK variants, where you're trying to get to your grind engine as fast as possible, where you're trying to get to your consistency engine. The card cards are literally only in here for situations in which you're not setting armor or summoning arsenal. If you haven't got them, you need to get to them, so that's why the 3 card are in here. And they're also searchable by Gigant, if you would ever want to do that. I then play 3 copies of Geargiarmor, the center point of the deck. Just want to keep flipping this to get your advantage, searching your cards out your deck. That's your main advantage engine. Then, almost the center point of the deck, we play 3 of the Lone Fire, Geargiarsenal. Geargiarsenal is literally only in here to sack for your Geargiarmor, but to be honest, a 1700 Lone Fire is nothing to laugh at. It's really, really strong, really good beater actually, so it's definitely invaluable in the deck. And I'm currently only playing double Geargiaccelerator. I found that in this deck you really don't need the 3rd, because you're not making the OTK, so there's not as much focus on the accelerators. You only really need your 1 to make your Xyz plays, 2 if you're making a push, but you can always keep detaching 1 off of your Gear Gigant and then adding it straight back to your hand with the Gigant's effect. So I feel that 2 is plenty, because like even at 2 it is occasionally clogged for me. Like I keep opening 2 on Dueling Network, and 3 would just be dreadful in my eyes. But 3 is something you can play. It's not terrible. I then play 3 copies of Geargiano MK.II. Geargiano MK.II is your little tour guide. It's just so good. In tandem with the Trap Gear, Geargiagear, it just puts in so much damn work. Even in a non-OTK variant, it's a free Xyz. It's a free Xyz play. So there's that. And then of course there's the Geargiano, which you've got to play. And it's still just as good in this, even without the Karakuri tuners. Because you can still hold onto an Axel, and if your Gigant play goes south, you can res this if you've got it in graveyard, tribute it for any of your level 4 Geargias that are in graveyard, special summon the Accelerator from your hand, and you can try again. So Guyana is still pretty good in this, and then the last monsters I play are double effect Veiler. Because in a slower build deck, I want to be playing Veilers. I want to give myself the edge against advantage pushing cards, anything that's going to allow my opponent to go Mega Plus in combos, anything that's going to allow my opponent's bears to go through, Prophecy, it's quite good against Prophecy, anything that's going to beat me in the grind situation, I want to be able to counter, and Effect Veilers are usually a very good counter for that. So that is the monster lineup. It's fairly simple. It's just advantage engine and getting to the advantage and staying alive. For the spells are fairly simple as well, I guess. Like the trap lineup's kind of cool, but it's a fairly simple deck, really. For the spells, 1 Dark Hole. Yes, it does conflict with the armor, but Dark Hole in a less OTK based deck where you're able to clear your opponent's board for big pluses is pretty good. 1 Book of Moon. Book of Moon's just so versatile. It's just good in so many situations. Triple Space Typhoon. Fiendish Chain is a bitch. When you're going off, you actually want your resources to be safe. So you want the MSTs in there for those, and Tenki and Sphere are threats, especially because Boujins are now a thing. So you really want to be spacing those Tenkis to try and stop them getting to their Yamatos. And then the last spell I play is 3 copies of Duality, because hey, your plays are usually delayed by a turn, especially if they have anything to do with Geargiarmor. So Duality card turn 1 is always beautiful. So triple Duality. And that is the spell lineup. Now onto the traps. I believe this is something close to 14 or 15 traps. the trap lineup is as follows. Triple Geargiagear. Geargiagear is just as good in this deck because it's basically a 1-card Xyz for any rank 4 you want. It's a 1-card Exciton in certain situations. If you can have this set up and your opponent like sets a fair few, if you have this set and another card, your opponent maybe sets 3 and puts a monster out, you can end phase this, try go for Exciton. If you've got the MST, they can't Fiendish Chain, so they're basically relying on a Solemn Warning at that point. So Geargiagear is really, really strong in that capacity alone, just for making Exciton. But people who, if you test this deck remotely, you'll realize how good a 1-card Xyz is in this. And I do play the Dagusto Emerald to recharge for the third one if I've used 2 already, or if I've seen too many targets. I'm then only testing 1 Call of the Horned. I couldn't really find room for a second one. I wanted to play everything else that's in this deck currently. So 1 Call of the Horned is something I'm testing at the moment, mainly for reviving my Geargia armors, so that I can revive them in the end phase of my opponent's turn, then in my turn use the effect to flip it face down and then manually change its battle position, so I can then get my search. But 1 Call of the Horned is working just fine for me. It's really not a card that you need that much, but it's an option. I'm then playing double 7 Tools of the Bandit. I found in this deck cards like Torrential, Mirror Force, big mass removal traps really, really hurt you. And then there's of course the obvious things that you'd love to hit, like the warnings, the abyss spheres. It's just a really, really general card in the meta right now. It prevents you from going heavy minus against some of the more damaging traps, some of the one-offs, and it also allows you to prevent yourself from losing to some of the dumber traps as well. So I just feel that 7 Tools is an all-round very strong card at the moment, especially in a vastly slowed down format with heavy trap decks. So it's good against almost everything in the meta now. I'm then playing double Fiendish Chain to complement the Veilers. I don't feel I need the third one because I'm playing the 2 Veilers. But Fiendish Chain is better for your Bousion matchup compared to the Veilers. Double D Prison, double Mirror Force, and then for my one-offs, Bottomless, Torrential, and Solemn Warning. I was testing Compulse before, but Compulse was essentially a neg 1 unless you were using it against an Xyz, because your opponent just got the card back, and you don't want to be neg-1ing yourself in an advantage-based deck like this. So that is the main deck. It should be 40 cards. I've been trying to stick to 40 recently. Almost everything I'm building is 40 cards. So, yeah. For the extra deck, we're going to start off with our level 3s, I think. We play 1 level 3, well, rank 3 for Muscle. Number 30 Acid Golem, you have to play this as your Muscle card. In my opinion, it's the best Muscle card. 1 Ghostrick Alucard for removing them face-down cards. It's really good in the mirror for killing those face-down armors. It's also really nice, for clearing your opponent's back row so you can actually make bigger plays. Because you can make him for 1 card, so if it baits something out, you've got 1 for 1, and if he doesn't bait something out and he actually gets to pop something, awesome. Then otherwise I'm playing 1 Mechquipped Angineer because it's just really good generic protection. And then finally 1 Soul of Silvermountain. This card is so good. A friend of mine came first with Geargia today at my locals. And he made some absolutely stunning plays with Soul of Silvermountain. Soul of Silvermountain kind of fulfills the same role that Alucard does, but they both have subtle differences, like the fact that Soul of Silvermountain in certain aggressive situations is able to get you your Geargiarmor out of the graveyard, get you any kind of earth monsters out of your graveyard. So Soul of Silvermountain is just really quite good all round. But that's the 3s that I play. For the 4s, I play double Gigant. I was playing 3, but you really don't need the 3 that often. You need the third one once in a blue moon, and I didn't feel that the third was worth playing. So, 2 Gigant, 1 Exciton, because you can make it for 1 card, you can make it for free, and it's good for regaining advantage, so Exciton. 1 Diamond Direwolf. Sometimes you are ahead on advantage, and you just need to nuke 1 card in particular, so that's what you use the Direwolf for, just targeting itself, taking out a certain card that's actually proving to be a threat and shutting you out. So that's why he's in there. 1 number 50 Blackship of Khorne, because removal is good. 1 Maestroke, because Maestroke is really good in this deck. Can't play Kagutsuchi, you know my rule. 1 number 101 Silent Honorarch. Honorarch is just a shoe-in. It's a near staple it is a staple in rank 4 decks. I just wish I had 2, so I could be playing 2. 1 Dweller, because Mermail is still a thing. 1 Cowboy, because 800 Burn is still a thing. 1 Dagusto Emerald for recharging your deck. You are playing a fairly small monster count, and there are cards in this deck which rely on you having certain monsters still in the deck, so this is good for recharging. And then 1 number 85 Crazy Box for them skill drain situations. I can't help but feel that I missed something in my extra deck, but at this point in time I honestly can't think of what it is. But honestly, extra deck's up to interpretation for you guys. Please change it as you will. I've realised this has actually been a really quick deck profile for me, but I've realised it's also Geargia, and it's also a really, in my opinion, relatively simple deck to kind of grasp, so it's not something I need to really opinionate myself on. I guess I can quickly talk about how I feel about this deck in the meta right now. It's really strong against Bujin, actually, that I've been finding. I've been testing this deck out against Bujin recently a lot on Dueling Network, because it seems to be what everyone's playing. And I've lost one game to when a guy opened the Nuts Game 3, but otherwise I have a very hard time losing to the deck. The Effect Veilers are still okay against the deck Game 1, as long as you know how to use them, as long as you hold them for things like the Susana Woos and non-end phase type effects. So usually when they make their Xyz plays, your Effect Veilers are going to be good, and your opponent really won't expect them, so it really puts them on tilt in those situations. And if they just turtle you, oh well, that's a turtle out of the way. Like, it's a turtle out of the way that your massive number of traps are going to benefit from later on. So it's really, really strong in that regard. I just really like this deck for the Bujin matchup. Some people probably disagree, but the way it's been testing so far has been really, really strong against that deck, and that deck is going to be stupidly popular going into the next month before Primal Origin. But otherwise, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. I feel this deck has a good all-round matchup against most things. It does, of course, suffer to Mermail because of the fact that Mermail has a Marksman, and if you don't have the Effect Negation or Summon Stopping to stop bears, this deck can suffer a little bit against Fire Fist, but its main concern really is the Mermail matchup, in my opinion. But otherwise, that brings me to about the end of this video, actually. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please let me know what else you'd like to see in the comment section down below. I haven't actually got Bujins anymore, but I can do a Dueling Network profile if I have to, but I really don't. I really want to avoid it because I think the deck's boring. I think I could probably stand to do Mythic Rulers next. I am actually going home back to Milton Keynes in 2 days from now. 2 days from recording, or 1 day from recording, because it's now 2:30 Sunday morning. So there may be a slight delay in uploads Monday and possibly Tuesday as well. But I'll be trying to get back to my regular content as soon as I can. But yeah, let me know what you want to see. See if we can get this video to, I don't know. Last time I said 100 likes, I got 107 at least. So let's see if we can get this video to 150 likes. And I'll try and rush out something nice from one of my old rogue binders. I'm considering something like Larval Control, like some really random ideas that I've got ticking around. So let's see if we can get this to 150 likes, and then I'll try and bring you some of those cool decks. But yeah, otherwise that's about everything I want to say on this. As per usual, I don't normally say this, but as per usual, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys soon with some more Yu-Gi-Oh related content. This has been Jamie the Kid 00. Peace out. Bye-bye.